Hello, we've got some tulips in our spring craft room today, but tulips don't last very long when they're cut, unless of course you craft them, and then they can last forever, either as plant pots, in a vase, or as a lovely present to give somebody all together like that. We can even put them on a card. So there are 3 different ways to do tulips today. We've got these ones, we've got them there, a card, and this is the same way as that one. Okay, so we've got those. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to do the fabric ones, because this is the new part of the tutorial really. Now we need lots of different things for today, and for this one we're going to need a piece of fabric. So you can get any kind of fabric that you like. So we've got some silk here, and we've got some lining material, we've got some stripy stuff, we've got some jersey. It really doesn't matter what you need. And you can either do 12 by 9 or you can do 11 by 6, and that's centimetres. Okay, so this one is a 12 centimetre by 9 centimetre, and that's going to make a relatively big tulip. But basically, as long as you have got a oblong, a rectangle shape, that's all that matters. So we're going to have that, we're going to have needle and thread, we're going to have 2 cotton wool balls, and we're going to have a stick. Now the sticks that I favour are these kebab sticks, which you can get in pound shops, and they are 100 for £1, so you end up having to use loads of them in crafts when you're doing that. That's the same craft we have here on the same stick we have here. And I have painted them green on this one. So with acrylic paint I've painted them green, but they actually look pretty good even when they're just left as wood. But I did paint some of them green, so that's something that you can do if you want. And we've got our needle and thread. I'm just going to move that out of the way so that you can clearly see what I'm doing. So this is 12 centimetres this way and 9 centimetres that way, and then I have ironed a 1 centimetre hem on the top and the bottom, only ironing it. We don't need to worry about sewing or doing anything with that hemming, so just ironed it like that. Now if I just show you on a paper version, we're going to be sewing down this edge and this edge. So we're going to be folding it together in half like that and sewing down here, and then a big running stitch down there. So I'm going to put that together. Now I'm sewing today in a big black thread so that you can see it, but that is a bad thing. You actually want to be using a colour that matches whatever you've got. I'm deliberately going on this white stripe with a dark one so you can see it. So we're going to be starting in this top corner, and then we're going to come down here, and then we're going to come across here, and we're coming across with a big stitch. Now as you're going down here you could use back stitch. What I've done is make a knot on the end, because we don't need to worry about seeing it. Now it will work with either a small running stitch or a whip stitch over the edges or a back stitch, because you're basically creating a seam that you don't really want to see when you're doing that. So I'm just going to go down. If you're thinking what's whip stitch, what's back stitch, what's running stitch, just flip back to the videos where I call it drawing with thread. So we are going to be creating a line along here. Okay, so I was at the top and I've come down there, and then this is going to be the bottom of my tulip now, and I am going to make a running stitch along here. And this time it's going to be used for gathering, so it's going to be a running stitch which is quite loose as we're going along. Now we're on, I should have said that we're turning right sides together. So we had our right sides together, so this is the back of the fabric that you're looking at. We've gone down there with a neat stitch, and we've gone across there with a larger running stitch. Now we're going to turn it inside out, so that we're now on the right side. So I'm just going to flick that inside out, carefully keeping that there. This is a really nice simple sewing activity. Even if you think you can't sew, you're going to be able to do this one. Okay, now that's come up inside, still with the thread. The thread I used was about 40 centimetres long, because if you can do the whole thing in one thread, that's quite a good idea. Now I'm going to get my stick. It's pointy at one end and not pointy at the other end, and it doesn't really matter which way around you're going to do it. If you're putting it into a vase, it doesn't matter which way you're doing with the point end. If you're putting it into there, you might want, if you wanted the point end downwards because you're sticking it somewhere into soil. So I'm going to stick that approximately halfway through, and then I am going to pull on my thread, and that is going to gather the bottom part together. So I've pulled on that running stitch thread that we did, and I'm going to end up with a gathered bottom. So I'm just going to hold that one up so that you can see that that is what is happening at the bottom. So you pull it up really tight, and then you are putting the stick inside. We're still keeping that on. Now I'm going to stuff it with anything you like, but 2 cotton wool balls is the perfect size for it. So I'm going to put one on one side of the stick and one on the other side of the stick as we're doing that, and that's going to give me a perfectly fluffed out, for this size, tulip. So just push that in there, and then we've got it. Now it's not coming, I'm just holding that out the way, it's not coming all the way to the top, that stuffing. We're leaving a bit of a space because now we need to do the magic bit to create the top of the tulip. So if I can show you these ones nice and close up there, you can see that they've got that sort of cross shape in the middle. So having sewn like that and like that, and then got it like that, we're now going to sew across from here to here. So we're making a cross on the top of it. So I'm actually going to take my stick out as I do it. You can do that or not. It's just a little bit easier because I'm holding it up. You can keep your stick in, but you can also stick the stick in afterwards. So if you pull up your thread now, it will naturally be coming to one side of it, one corner, and you're going to sew right across to the other one. So I'm pulling up together, and I'm going to go straight across from one side all the way across to the other side. And that will pull the 2 sides together like that. Okay, right across the middle here. So then we're going to go across the other way and pull it from one side to another with a few simple over stitches. And when you do that like that, it creates that fantastic top, which I will show you on there, where you've gone from one side and then the other side with that hem nicely and neatly put inside there. Obviously you could then put your stick back up inside. I'm just going to have a word about the stick, because on these ones I've used a different stick, and I've used this stuff which is a soft twist plant tie, which again came from a pound shop, and these ones will give you that natural droop that they get. So you can put this on as well. So you could use that kind of stick, especially if you were doing it like that, or you could use the plant tie, which makes that nice sort of bendy shape that you can do. Obviously you can also put them into a plant pot like these ones. Now these ones, this one is actually sitting in a cotton reel. I told you a while ago not to throw away cotton reels. This one is also in a cotton reel, but the cotton reel's just got a toilet roll on there with a picture of a bunny to make it extra Eastery. So they are different ways of doing that like that as well if you want to. The good thing about the kebab sticks is that you can cut them with scissors. It's a little bit of an effort. Now if you want to, if you notice on the real ones we've got quite big leaves. So if you want to add some leaves like these ones have, you need to cut them from felt or from paper. Okay, so these ones are cut from paper and these ones are cut from felt. Quite big leaves for tulips, and you would need your glue gun to stick them on. Even if it's the paper ones, you still really need a glue gun to put them on. These ones do not have any excuse me, sorry, I was just coughing there. These ones don't have any leaves on, and I think they look nice just tied together with a ribbon. But you know, you could put those on if you were having it in there. So the paper ones slightly curled just to make them go round in the way that they naturally do. So that is tulip number 1, our fabric tulips. Now for this tulip there is a whole tutorial on this kind of thing called Gothic Valley Papercraft, which you can go back and have a look at. But I'm going to just show you a quick version of this now. So what we need to do is get a square of paper, and for this kind of size I used a 7cm square. 7, 8, 9, 10, either one, anything will do. And you're going to fold it from corner to corner to make a triangle. The only thing to say about this is if you are using paper which has a right side and a wrong side like that, then you need to make sure that you're folding the right side inside like that. This is double-sided, so it doesn't matter. This one, which is the tiny one we're going to put on the card there, is just inside. It's got like a right and a wrong side, so you want to have the colour on the inside. You're then going to, having folded it like that, you're going to get 5 of them and stick them on top of each other in a little sandwich like that. So that's 4 of them, and then I'm going to put another one on top. So I'm going to get out my glue stick. You can do this with any kind of paper because tulips of course come in any size. No, they don't come in any size, I meant any colour. Okay, so they're definitely like that. Now the size of tulip, the shape of tulip that I'm going for is this one. You can make yourself a template or freehand it. I'm folding it in half like that, because I want the half tulip shape, and that is what a half tulip shape looks like if you would like to freeze frame on that bit so you can see. I've drawn it onto there with a big felt tip pen, but you don't really want to do that. You really want to just either freehand cut it or use a pencil. And then I'm going to cut through all of them together, all of it, all 5 of them. And the power of 5 is something we've talked about before when we're crafting flowers. And then we're going to put some glue on one side and also on this folded middle bit, because that is where my stick is going. So I'm going to choose a smaller stick this time for this one. I'm going to put a smaller stick inside, and then I'm going to pull that around. Stick it to itself, open it up, move it along a little bit, and you have got a lovely tulip, which again can be added either in a pot like this one or in a vase like this, and you can add your leaves. You could also go for a slightly more traditional tulip shape like that. I went for a sort of curved up one on the edge, but you could also just go for one that's more of a bowl like that. In order to put them onto a card, you only need 2 of them. So you've got the 2 little ones, and those ones were 4cm squares. So I've just made a little 4cm square, stick 2 of them together, and by now I'm confident enough to freehand this because I've made quite a lot of them, but you could draw it out if you wanted. Open it out and you will have a flat back. You then put some glue on that flat back and stick it down. This time I've decided to make them all the same colour, so that's 3 purple ones all the same. For the stem, you're best to use felt tip pen because it's really, really thin by the time you've got there. So just get your green felt tip pen and use make a nice thin line down from the middle and stick on some leaves. If you want to make the leaves the same way we did as the snowdrop, where they're a little bit 3D and coming forwards, you could look back at that video. Tulips have quite big leaves, so you need it like that. So we have got lots of different ways to make our tulips last forever and enjoy springtime. See you soon for more crafts. Bye.